Hello my beautiful people, welcome to the next in the series of, welcome to the next weekly general overview. Thank you for being here, thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. I just want to say a big thank you as well for all of you that check in with the weekly general. It's so nice to see the numbers at such a, so high. I actually never expected it to do as well as it has, and it's crazy how many people check in with it. I'm really chuffed about that. So I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to all of you from me. As you can hear, I am a little bit under the weather at the moment, but soldiering on, you know how we do. So if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. I'm all caught up now, so if you book now, I think I'm taking bookings from the 8th of November, the 7th or the 8th of November. So if you want to get one, they seem to be going crazy at the moment. So if you want to get a personal reading with me, whether it's written, Skype, personal video, any of that stuff, you can do so on the website address below. Mercury is now retrograde in Scorpio. Interestingly enough as well, as we start this week on the 4th of November, I do believe Venus will have already moved into Sagittarius, which is really nice, right? Because we've got both Jupiter and Venus now in the sign of Sagittarius, right? So Venus is out of that kind of, let me drill down and be dark and intense with my feelings, and which is actually a good thing, right? I don't ever get it twisted and think, the heaviness is just heavy. It's not. Sometimes we really do need to look at things at a deep level. Sometimes we really do need to have that depth of understanding, that depth of wisdom. And sometimes, because Venus brings a healing and a soothing balm as well, right? And interestingly enough, when you get Venus in the 8th house, just a fun fact, when you get Venus in the 8th house, it especially for women, it gives kind of, they call it the touch of the goddess. So it makes for a very powerful healer, somebody that has an innate ability to heal others. Interestingly enough, Scorpio rules the 8th house. So when Venus goes in there, yes, she's not necessarily the happiest. She might be in a detriment of sorts, but she also brings her natural healing salve to that area, right? So I kind of feel like it's regardless of whether we want it or not, we're always going to have it at least once every sort of 2 years, right? So it's when it happens, try to take that from it. Think about what you've taken away from that Scorpio season when it comes to Venus. What has she taught you while being there? Now that she's in Sagittarius, she can have a lot more fun. She can be a lot more lighter. She can start to really lighten your mood as well. Because don't forget, Sagittarius is about your higher thoughts and ideas, right? And your philosophies on life and the way that you envision things, in your future and the longer term, but also in a broader sense. So she's going to lighten your mood. She's going to bring your thoughts and your feelings, Venus, right? She's going to bring those things to a lighter and higher dimension in that respect. We've got Jupiter in Sagittarius, who's now rocketing his way towards the end of Sagittarius, right? So this once in a 12-year transit is coming to an end. But the fact that we've got both of the blessing planets, both of the benefic planets in the sign of Sagittarius, it really for me kind of spells out that we have this energy now, even with the Mercury retrograde, even with stuff still hanging out in Scorpio, we now have this this feeling of actually there's a lot more optimism, there's a lot more joy. And it's like, even with things being heavy, with all of the stuff that's happening in the world and the bigger events and stuff, even with that, we still understand that there actually is a bigger sense here. There is a bigger divine plan. There is a future for all of us, regardless of how things may feel at this moment in time. There is hope. Jupiter offers a broader perspective, but it also gives you, it also offers protection, right? So from some of that heavier stuff, the darker stuff, Jupiter offers that sort of protective energy. And then with Venus there as well, she's kind of come into the party in Sagittarius and said, right, you know what, Jupiter, I see you've been here for a while doing things pretty much on your own for quite a while now, so let me come in and add that to you. So you've got, right, the Lord of blessings, and now you get the lady come in as well, and that's a beautiful energy because you get the masculine and feminine energies really kind of working in harmony. So when that conjunction between those two happens, I think it's going to be around, might be like around the 3rd or 4th of December. I'll have to check, but I will let you know. So, before we start, as always, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So, interestingly enough, when I went into my intuition this week, let me turn those around because they seem to be upside down. This is not Pac-Man throwing up, by the way. Believe it or not, this is a pie. And it's interesting as well that I've just been waffling on about all of that's come up. This week, it may be easy, and the fact that you're watching this video means that you have a heads up. It means that you can change your viewpoint and stance, and if you are so inclined, you can change the energy that you are surrounded by holding space for what you know, for what I'm about to deliver to you, and how that speaks to you and how you want to interpret it, but also impart that information onto other people. This week, it might be easy for a lot of people to get into that lack mindset, that, oh no, you know what, there's not enough to go around, right? So what I've actually drawn here is a pie, right? So when I went in, I was like, okay, all right, are you just laughing at me, telling me that I need to go on a diet? Come on, spirit, come on, intuition, come on, universe, what are you doing to me? And the message was, no, there is a piece of the pie for everybody. Do not let anybody, world leaders, news, people in your personal vicinity, don't let anyone try to convince you this week that there is not enough of something or anything to go round. There is more than enough for everybody to have their piece, for everybody to have their slice. So when you see other people getting into that lack mindset, when you see other people going into that, you know, fear response of there's not enough, or I can't have, or, you know, I won't be able to have if they have this, or if they have that, I can't have this. Don't buy into that this week. It will be really easy to do, and it really is untrue, right? Don't let that energy become yours. It's an energy that may surround you, but you don't have to allow it to come from you, right? Don't let it permeate your energy. So when you find yourself in situations like this, or you see people having these kind of conversations, do what you can to shift that energy. If it's too heavy for you, obviously, you know, stay out and mind your business. You don't have to. I'm just saying it will be easy, you know, when people get on the ain't it awful stage and talk about their woes and how there isn't enough, and the reason there isn't enough is because of this person or that person or those people or this and this. You don't have to buy into that. If you want to, you can find a gentle, easy way to correct them, to drill down that that's not actually the case, and that if, you know, they stay in that energy, they're going to perpetuate it. But for the most part, don't allow yourself to buy into that idea. Don't allow yourself to be sold that idea, because it really is, it's hogwash. Yeah, right, so let's have a look. See at the destiny card for the week is the World card, right? Very, very interesting, because the World card represents Saturn. It's the final major arcana where all things come full circle, but where you become a master of something. And this week it's about your own energy. This is where you really start to discover that actually, you know what, I can do this, right? And know and believe that actually there is more than enough of the resources of everything to go around. This is one of the big debates of the world, you know, that so few people hold all the resources and the money and everything in the world, and then the 98% of us left, you know, have the rest of it, right, so to speak. And you might find that mentality trying to permeate even, you know, everybody on the ground this week. Don't buy into it. With the destiny card being the World card, this really feels for me like we are probably going to see some bigger world events take place this week. It also suggests that in some way, shape or form, this is a week where we get to truly master how we feel. right? Saturn, mastery. This is a week where you can catch yourself in patterns. This is a week where you could actually ultimately feel a real power of transcendence. This is a moment where you can transcend your old thinking, your old thoughts, your old limitations, your old beliefs even, right? This is a moment where you could really this week see a lot of inner headway made, right? You could really see a big change, a big shift in your own attitude and your own response to the limitations that are placed on you, right? Because ultimately something can only ever really limit us if we choose to allow it to do so. So this week you could really transcend that, and that's a beautiful place to be. It really is, because it kind of suggests that how much power do you want? How much self-mastery are you prepared to experience and to know within yourself? That's what it comes down to this week. So your direction, what is the direction card? Wow. All right, so let's delve a bit deeper into this. When you see this world card in this deck, you see that figure there in the middle. It's actually the Fool. When you see the Fool card in this deck, let me show you it actually. The Fool card in this deck is there surrounded by the wreath of the world, right? So let's have a look at this. Right, really, really interesting, because it suggests a full cycle. It suggests coming back to a new understanding of self. But the beauty of the world card in terms of its mastery, the beauty of Saturn, is that you get to step forward, right? We've all said it at some point, and I'm only 34, right? We've all said at some point, oh, you know, if I knew now what I knew, you know, if I knew now what I know, but I knew it when I was younger, can you imagine? Well, Saturn is going to give you, Saturn, the world card rather, is going to give you that experience this week. You could really gain the knowledge of something, of yourself, and you're being asked to start anew, right? And although you might not get the years back, you still have this opportunity to begin, to restart, to do something brand new, and when I say brand new, maybe not because it's Mercury retrograde, but your outlook. You can refresh your outlook, the way that you see things. You can rewrite the story that you're telling yourself. You can rewrite the stories that you allow other people to impose on you, right? You can really choose this week what you allow to be true for yourself, in your life, in your experience of life. I read a quote the other day that just absolutely, like, when I heard it, I was like, damn, right in the gooey bag. I felt that one. And the quote was, I'm not responsible for the view you have of me in your head, right? Or something along those lines. But it was really powerful, and it kind of suggests, you know, this week when I look at these cards, I mean, this is something coming full cycle, but it's your hope, your vigor, your zest for life is renewed because you spot patterns, you spot cycles, and you kind of look at it and you say, you know what, I can move past that now. It's served its purpose. And rather than looking at it and being like, oh, you know, that's heavy, it's awful, it's this, it's that, you can look at it and say, do you know what, no judgment, no issues, no problems. Boom, I transcend it. Thank you for the lesson. Thank you, next. Right, love Ariana. The Fool card as a direction card, all things new. Seek out different people, different places. I think this week I will probably look for maybe, well, I can't do any videos outside at the moment because the weather doesn't permit, but I think I will look for a new place to go and explore nature, to go and refresh and recharge my batteries. For any of you that know me, have been with me long enough, you know that natural settings just, they refresh and really soothe my soul. So yeah, really, really interesting. And it kind of looks like as well, we will see the close of many cycles this week. There could be, you know, and even though the cards of the High Priestess isn't here, you've got the Fool, which is the revealing of the new, right? Something new coming forward. It's also Uranus, right? The Fool is Uranian ruled. And it's interesting that we've got both these cards here because they're both in some aspect connected to Aquarius, right? So again, this whole, ooh, okay, throwing them all over the place. This whole idea of tribe, this whole idea of connecting to people, this whole idea of really getting to know yourself and your individual thread in the wider tapestry of the world. Really, really, interesting stuff coming forward. But yeah, something comes full cycle this week. Don't be reckless, right? Don't get crazy or anything like that. But this week you can kind of have, you can seek out to do something new that's going to change your perspective. And the beauty of this pairing is that you can do this new thing. You can restart your life in some area of your life, but with the knowledge that you've had. And very often, sometimes I've done it as well. We go through things and we kind of, it's like, okay, well, now that that's over, I don't have to think about it again. Well, no, do think about it again, because that's where you're going to discover what it is that you've actually learned, what it is that you can now apply to your own life. That's really, really important. So the insight card, what is the energy making its way in this week? This week we get the Four of Swords. You've got to take it easy, right? No big grand gestures, no big grand purchases. This is not a week for us to be reckless or mindless. It's not a week for us to be rash. It's just a week to really observe what you have learned, how things have changed, to really observe the inner you, to really meditate and take moments to consider how much you've changed, right? To consider how much has changed in your life, and also how you are no longer willing to allow other people, other stories, other external factors to shake your inside, to move your core in any way, shape or form. I love it. I actually think this can be a really good week. I mean, they're really interesting cards because, Saturn, the world card is although it's number 21, it actually is the 22nd major arcana. So you've got 2 and 2, that's 22, although technically you shouldn't simplify it, but it's still 4. Then you've got the Four of Swords, right? And the Four of Swords, it really is that rest, recuperation. It's also about meditation. It's about taking the break. It's about taking the moment to step back, to just observe things the way they are, not to make any moves, not to make any rash decisions. And very often I see the Four of Swords for people who need to slow down, and it really is a message from the universe to say, if you don't stop, I'm going to stop you. I remember a few years ago, now I say a few years ago now, many moons ago, when I was, I think, about 22 now. I kept getting this card, right? If I ever, and I don't really read for myself very often, but every time I did, I got this card, and it was always in a prominent position. When I went to other people for them to read for me, this card would always pop up. And I remember going to a Reiki session. This tiny little old lady, she was amazing. She blew my socks off, I tell you. She said to me, "You're always in a hurry. Slow down. And if you don't slow down, it could lead to something that's not gonna, something that's gonna slow you down." And I think it was within maybe a year, I had a car accident. Wrote the car off, damaged my Achilles tendon and my foot. It was quite bad. It wasn't life-threatening or anything like that, but it slowed me down. Right, I had to stop. I then didn't have a choice. And interestingly enough, 22 was when my big spiritual awakening really started to happen. This is when this stuff really started to come up for me in big ways. So yeah, the Four of Swords as your insight card. Take time to understand where it is that you're being told there isn't enough and all the rest of it, where it is that you're being sold stories that actually don't resonate with you anymore, where it is that the external factors of the world are trying to impose a thought process or a thought pattern or even a program on you, right? This is a week where you really can free yourself of all of that. It's going to take observation, objectivity. It may even take research. It may even take reassessment and reevaluation. All things that are happening. Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. You can do the deep work this month, this week even, and what you uncover can be knowledge that you can use to really step your life forward and in a way it's almost like you can, you can look at it and you can say, well, you know what, this time I am able to know what I knew then and step forward with it, right? And I'm not saying just look over the last month. I'm saying look over your entire lifespan. There may very well be things that come up and you look at them differently and you go, wow, you know what, now that I've got a different perspective on it, look at what I've gained from it. Then you can find a way to utilize, to input that into your life from here on in. All right. I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Thank you again so much for being here. It truly means a lot. I wish you all of the best and I will see you very soon.